As a young man, Marconi developed an interest in physics and electricity. He started working on the concept of wireless telegraphy in the early 1890s, which is the transmission of telegraph signals without the use of connecting wires, like the electric telegraph. Marconi showed his mother a radio transmitter and receiver late one night in December of 1894. The apparatus allowed him to make a bell ring on the other side of the room simply by pressing a telegraphic button on a bench. In the summer of 1895, Marconi made a huge step forward when he found out that he could get a much longer range by raising the height of the antenna and grounding his transmitter and receiver. This was a technique from wired telegraphy. These upgrades allowed the system to transmit signals up to 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers away and over hills. In July 1896, Marconi presented his method to the British government for the first time, and by March of 1897, Marconi successfully sent Morse code signals over a distance of 6 kilometers, 3.7 miles, across Salisbury Plain. This was made possible by a second set of demonstrations for the British government. In March of that year, Britain gave Marconi a patent for wireless. And on July 20th of that same year, he started the Wireless Telegraph and Signal Company. The company was in charge of some of the most important developments in radio and television. In 1898, on Hull Street in Chelmsford, northeast of London, they built the first radio plant in the entire world. Because of Marconi's brilliance, the first point-to-point fixed wireless link between Europe and North America was officially made possible. To compete with the transatlantic telegraph lines, Marconi started looking into ways to send signals across the Atlantic at the turn of the 20th century. Marconi built a wireless transmitting station at Marconi House on Rossler Strand in County Wexford, Ireland, in 1901. This was so that Poldhu in Cornwall, England, and Clifton in Connemara, County Galway, Ireland, could talk to each other. On December 17, 1902, the Marconi station on Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, sent the first radio signal across the Atlantic Ocean from North America. However, it was hard to set up a reliable transatlantic signal, so he had to compete with other inventors. Marconi started building strong stations on both sides of the Atlantic that ships at sea could use to talk. Wireless transatlantic messaging was officially launched for public service on October 17, 1907, with a transmission of 10,000 words. It started in Clifton, Ireland, communicating to a site at Glace Bay, Nova Scotia. The two stations were the most powerful radio stations in the entire world at the time. The transmission masts at the Clifton wireless station were 60 meters tall, and up to 300 people worked there. Jack Phillips was one of the major individuals who worked there. In March of 1906, Jack began his training to work in radio for the Marconi Company. He later became the chief radio operator on the Titanic. Unfortunately, he did not make it through the disaster that day. Glace Bay was chosen by Marconi because of its elevated level area and unhindered view of the ocean. On the property, a few of the gigantic towers' concrete footings are still visible today. In 1907, the huge Marconi towers that were here were used to start the first transatlantic wireless service that ran all the time, 24/7, from Marconi Towers to their partner station in Clifton, Ireland. Marconi passed away July 20th, 1937, at the age of 63, after suffering 9 heart attacks over the course of 3 years while working to further microwave technology. These are interesting things with JC.